The Aida Refugee Camp is situated next to Bethlehem, in the West Bank. It stands at the north border of the city and is at a distance of 7.34 kilometres from Jerusalem. The Aida camp, like the other Palestinian camps in the West Bank and Gaza, but also like those in Lebanon, Syria and Jordan, is composed of the descendants of the Palestinian families exiled in 1948 as a result of the creation of the State of Israel and the war that ensued. The inhabitants of the Aida camp come from 27 different villages, the majority of which do not exist today because they were destroyed or renamed and completely transformed into Israeli villages and towns. The Aida camp was founded in 1951, and it was UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees, founded in 1949, that helped with providing basic services to the refugees, mainly in the fields of health and education. Initially, 1,200 people were living in tents supplied by UNRWA. Today, there are about 5,000 people living in solid structure buildings. The geographic position of the Aida camp is greatly constricted, especially since the construction of the separation wall by the Israeli authorities in the beginning of this decade. The wall zigzags around the camp, surrounding half of the east border, almost all of the north border, and a part of the western border. The inhabitants of the camp live in less than 10 kilometers of Jerusalem, but they cannot travel to the city unless they have a permit given under strict conditions by the Israeli authorities. In the north of Aida, there is the Israeli settlement of Gilo, which increases in size day by day. In the east, there is a military base and a school for Orthodox Jews, both surrounded by thick walls of concrete. The construction of the military base blocked the main entrance of the camp and its access to the important route of Bethlehem. The living conditions in the Aida refugee camp, as in most Palestinian camps, are difficult. Promiscuity, a poor sewage network, and overpopulation are some of the problems evident within the camp. Water shortages are commonplace in the camp, where only one tap is provided for the entire camp's population water needs. Poverty exists in most families, which often are comprised of numerous extended family members. The unemployment rate is high, and the separation wall, constructed in the beginning of this decade, has created a dire situation there. The separation wall caused the closure of the two small firms in the camp that employed a high number of refugees, also restricting the possibility of refugees working in Jerusalem. The wall has also cut off a number of businesses from the main thoroughfare of Bethlehem to Jerusalem, resulting in a loss of potential customers, as is the case for most garages. In general, the unemployment rate in the West Bank and Gaza is high because of its weak economy and the lack of investment in the area. Furthermore, the situation is often worse in the refugee camps. The children of the camp are divided into two schools, one for girls and the other for boys, both under the administrative authority of UNRWA. The boys' school decided in the beginning of this decade to board up some windows in the classrooms as they were being targeted by Israeli gunfire during the Second Intifada. The Aida Youth Center is a non-governmental organisation based in the camp. Its origin goes back to 1968, but its history is particularly stormy. The centre was among others forced to close, and which was then completely destroyed in the beginning of this decade. The centre started its gradual reconstruction in 2003, dependent on the available funds at the time. A part of the ground floor is currently in use, composing of an office and a computer lab. In the basement, there is a gym hall for women and a large multifunctional hall equipped with a projector and sound system. The aim of the Aida Center is to offer a number of activities to the population of the camp in order to achieve an active, positive society that is aware of the reality around them. The activities offered by the Aida Youth Center are highly diversified. One of the main areas in which the NGO is very active is in establishing sports activities. Currently, the centre has its own football team and a gym hall for the women. The centre also has its scouts who meet regularly in the centre but who also meet outside Aida, like during the summer camps in 2009. More generally, the centre organises summer camps for children and teenagers. They include trips in the surrounding countryside or cities, as well as educational activities. The centre also provides regular computer classes as well as language classes and accounting. It lends the office space out to lectures, schools or organisations which do not have a large area. The Aida Youth Center realised a number of key projects. The more visible project being the construction of the return gate, surmounted by the biggest quay in the world at the entrance of the camp. The quay is the symbol of the Palestinian refugees, who fled their villages without having the time to gather all their belongings with the key of their house in their hand, believing they would return one day. The opening of the sculpture of the quay took place in 2008, attended by the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. The last 2 years, the Aida Youth Center has published an agenda counting the number of years the Palestinian refugees have been in exile. This year, 2010, is the 62nd year in exile for refugees of the conflict. The agenda also includes information on the destroyed villages and the history of the Palestinian people. One of the main functions of the Aida Youth Center is to also welcome foreign groups, tourists and other personalities. The proximity of the camp to the separation wall, the military base, an Israeli settlement, and the presence of the sculpture of the biggest quay in the world make it universally unique. The Aida Youth Center welcomes groups of various ages and origins, coming from the Palestinian territories, but also from other places around the world. The center's overarching objective is to implement, on a permanent basis, the concept of alternative tourism in the area, among other similar ideas, through the creation of a museum on the second floor of the centre, reflecting the story of the Palestinian people with the aid of modern technology. The Aida camp has welcomed a number of personalities, such as the wife of the former British Prime Minister Sarah Brown, the former President of the European Parliament Hans-Gert Pöttering, and the General Secretary of the United Nations Ban Ki-moon. The most challenging visit to date concerning its organisation has been Pope Benedict XVI in 2009. A small stadium was to be constructed for the reception of the Pope, creating an opportunity for Palestinians to display the separation wall in the backdrop of the Pope's welcome for the entire world to see on TV. However, a few days before the event, when the stadium was completed, the Israeli authorities decided against the location, threatening to prevent the Pope from visiting the camp. The location of the reception was then changed to the nearby UN school. The Aida Youth Center, as well as the camp in which it is located, has witnessed an intense and often painful history, but no one ceases to look to the future, even if one does not know what the future holds for them. Everyone is driven by the desire to open oneself up to the world, discover what it offers, and share the unique history of the Palestinian people and the struggle of its refugees.